Hi, everyone. Welcome to my viral wisdom number 59. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here with you guys. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, streaming to both. With my viral wisdom number 59, it's Dr. Shefali. Hi, guys. How are you? Tell me where you're signing in from and where you are, which part of the world you're from, so I can just get a sense of where everyone is connecting from in this virtual space that we have right now. Our only means to connect, and we have to make the best out of this. So, hi guys, I see you signing in from Toronto, Delhi. Hi, Erin from Cyprus. Good to see you all. So, what I wanted to talk about today on day number 59, session number 59 of my viral wisdom, is just like I mentioned last time, that if we cling to the baby in the uterus and don't allow the baby to enter the birth canal, the fetus to enter the birth canal, then there will be no birth. And using the same analogy, when the fetus is within us in our womb, the womb is its home for 9 months of percolation, 9 months of cooking, so to speak, 9 months of formation, development. And in those 9 months, amazing things happen. No time is lost. There is a lot of activity, a lot of inner metamorphosis, of transformation. 9 months. We have not yet done 9 months of this inner formation. We have not endured 9 months. We have barely endured a good 5, 6 months, and we are already going stark, raving crazy after just 6 months, maybe. And what does this say to us? What does this mean? What this means is that we are unable to flow with what life offers. Now, whether it's a hoax, whether there's a grand conspiracy run by Bill Gates so that we all use more computers at home, who knows? And on some level, what does it really matter? As if the Matrix wasn't a big grand hoax before this. As if things were amazing and perfect and organized and sane and wise. I mean, let's have no delusion. It was a shit show before, and it's another version of a shit show right now, to put it plainly. So let's not pretend like the old was amazing and that now you've discovered that there's some grand hoax going on. The truth is this: we didn't know then, and we don't know now. This is the truth of it all. You and I sitting here certainly can't get the whole story. But the thing is this: we're not ever meant to get the whole story. We're not. We're meant to get wisdom not from facts. We're always meant to get wisdom from nature. The facts of life, in terms of what are the true objective realities of, say, this coronavirus, or say, the climate change, or whether the earth is tilting or not. Those things are always up for more information to be had, because they are man against physical world, and then there is man against man world. So man against physical world, man against man. Between those two, we will never get the full picture. And wisdom doesn't come from getting data about the full picture, and that's what religion tries to do. Religion tries to give us, what? Science doesn't know how the world was formed. We know how the world was created. Let us tell you how the world was created. And every religion tries its own desperate way of telling us, According to us, the world was created this way. And then the Hindus have another philosophy. And then it's just our inability to understand that we are never meant to get the whole data. Because data is not where wisdom lies. Data is great until there's more data. And then there's more data. The earth was flat till it was round. Great. Wisdom and power and joy will not come from chasing data. Wisdom and joy and power will come from the most obvious place of all that we are missing because it's too obvious, from living life in its isness. And the only thing that lives life in its isness is nature. And for nature, you don't have to be a grand old cosmologist or scientist or archaeologist or archivist. No, you just need to observe nature. And nature will tell you very clearly the basics to live a wise, empowered life. Nature will tell you there is no attachment to your form. Everything is impermanent. Everything is in transition. Letting go is the only way. Don't attach to a thing because we all die. The only moment is now. Now, do you need to be a scientist to get these truths from nature? No. The reason why we don't get these truths from nature is because they are too uncomfortable. Who wants to live with the constant awareness that we may die? So we're like, F that. Let's pretend like nature didn't teach us that from day one. And let's go looking for some other truth. There is no other truth to be had. Who cares if the coronavirus is a hoax or not? It really doesn't matter. It doesn't make you wiser or not to figure that out. What makes you wiser is to begin to live your life without a hoax, is to begin to live your life without conspiracy and guile and deceit and lies. That's the truth. So whether you send your kid to a physical public school or you keep your kid at home, whether you go out there and you are talking at a conference hall or you're talking from a computer, whether you have a job or you don't, ultimately, those vagrancies of life are only the surface elements of life. Ultimately, you are still going to be confronted with the one element that you may have been choosing to avoid all along. And that element is you. And that element is unchanging. It doesn't go away. It doesn't leave. Whether your kid goes to college and never comes home or your kid never leaves home, heaven help us, and never goes to college, right? It doesn't matter. You still have to live with you. And that is what nature always will tell you, that when the tree loses its branches or whether the tree is filled with fruit, the tree still is the tree that has to stay with itself. And until its roots are firmly planted in the ground, it doesn't matter whether it's bearing fruit or not. That is what gives it its foundation. The roots, not the fruit. So here we are, we're only focused on the fruit, meaning we're only focused on the image, on the idea, on the story, on the noise, on the data. It doesn't matter. Because ultimately, when this essence is disconnected from within, that is the real trauma. That is the real hoax. That is the first conspiracy against the self. So just like the baby doesn't protest, the infant doesn't protest, needing 9 months to be in formation, why are we not understanding that we need at least 19 months in formation? Because we have been so negligent to our inner calling, to our inner alignment, to our inner awakening. So why are we panicking? Now I'm not saying there's nothing to panic about. Because if I got corona today, I'd be panicked. If my loved one died and some have died, I was in a panic. I am in a panic, no doubt. But I'm aware that these panics are about surface transient factors of my life. Because being ill or not is a fact of life. It's an indisputable, irrevocable reality of life. I will be ill. One day you and I will get this thing called the corona. We will be knocked out, and then we will die. Whether we die today or we die 50 years from now, that is not the point. The point is now. Okay, right now. Right now, are you blissful? Right? If you're, the cliche, every teacher, wisdom teacher will tell you, what if this was your last day to live? You're like, oh, then I'll be, living it so fully. I'll be going and loving everybody and hugging everybody and telling them how much I love them. Okay, did you do that today? Half the day is up. Have you done that? Are you blissful? Are you joyful? Are you sharing and spreading love and connection and peace and harmony? Well, obviously not, because you've been mired in the form of life. You've been mired in the surface vagrancies of life, whether the data is correct, whether the politician said the truth, whether your kid will go back to school or not, and for how long. That form aspect of life is where we've been trapped, is where we've been consumed, and there lies our suffering. Harmony and peace and joy and transcendence will never be found on the facts of the data, because facts keep changing. Depends on who's reporting. Medicine keeps changing, science keeps evolving, and it is meant to, because ultimately none of us have the whole picture about the whole. We all just have a piece of it. So if we all just have a piece of it, can we just make peace with that and just relent and surrender to the not knowing? Must we all act all officious? And then if we all don't know and no one really knows the whole thing, why don't we just err on the side of caution? Yeah. So, it's like, I don't know for sure when my baby was in my belly, I don't know for sure if you kicked me, whether that would harm the baby, but I'm not going to take a chance. Correct. So I'm like, you stay away from me. And when my baby was born, I'm not sure that if you had a cold and you sneezed on my baby, if it would give my baby pneumonia. I'm not sure, but I didn't want to take a chance. So I told the guests who had pneumonia or colds or fevers to stay the hell away from my baby. Yes, because I erred on the side of caution. But I wasn't sure. So since you're not sure, why don't we all just err on the side of caution? This doesn't mean I'm advocating that your rights be taken away and your autonomy go away and that you merge in with the crowd. No, I'm just saying err on the side of freaking caution. I mean, I can't believe we're having debates about erring on the side of caution. For the sake of the babies in the world, for the sake of the older people in the world, for the sake of the fragile, we don't mess around with this. We show that we care for those out there who may be compromised, even if we are in the best physical position or strength. This is humanity. This is interdependence. This is interconnection. This is compassion. You put yourself in a little distress just to be careful. We did this with our babies. Why don't you do it with the world's babies, the elderly, the fragile? Anyway, the point is that I see how we are getting lost in the form of it because we are uncomfortable, because we are distressed, because we are now on the precipice of fear like we've never been, because we're forced. The arrow of death is spearing our buttocks, okay? It's like, I could kill you any moment. Where before we had a nice padding, we're like, death is far away, it isn't going to touch me. Now the arrow is like up our ass and we're so nervous. We're like, oh, this hurts. And because it hurts and because we are uncomfortable with the pain, we're projecting this onto everyone and anybody. First, the president. So poor chap, he's suffering so much projection. No, I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but it's the truth. Because that fool doesn't know anything either, right? Why are we thinking that he should know? And we already knew who he was, so why would he know, right? But it's whether it's him or the Brazilian prime minister or the Indian prime minister or the Chinese. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Don't look to your politicians to rescue you out of this mess. This is the wild, wild west, truly, and it always was, though. It was just disguised in the illusion of knowing. No one knew. No priest knows, right? Ask your priest, to talk to their God, to ask, hello, when is this going to end? Call your psychics and your astrologers and your gurus and your chart readers or whatever, not to put astrologers down. Yes, some of my dear friends are astrologers. But all I'm saying is that there is no knowing, okay? You can have a hunch, you can have a guess, you can have a guesstimate, but this virus has shown us there is no knowing. There is no knowing because there was never meant to be any knowing. So anyone who sold you that they knew were lying through their teeth, but it's not their fault. The ones who believed that those who were selling the truth were selling the truth, they're the gullible fools, as in we are. The audience is the gullible ones, not the ones on stage, because the audience has the power to leave. But no, we've been believing everything that's been told to us from the pulpits and the stages and the podiums. And now we're angry? No, there's nothing to be angry about. They never knew. we gave them the power to be the ones in the knowing. There is no knowing. The only knowing is to know there is no knowing. The only knowing is to understand that until you align yourself with nature, the truth of nature, the truth of reality in nature, the reality as it is, only then you discover the illusions of life, right? And until you get there, and then when you get there, it's a severely disorienting process. I call it no woman's land, no man's land. Then you're severely crushed and crumbling because all your egoic delusions of knowing are in cinders and ashes and embers at your feet. But that's when freedom begins, because you begin to live in an entirely different way. You don't live in your ego, in the delusion that I know and my people know and mine are better than yours and my church, my synagogue, my temple, my Gurudwara better than yours. All those ideological idiocies go away because you realize that nobody knows. And I was looking for the knowing on the outside of me. And the knowing on the outside of me is an illusion. So it isn't Trump's fault only so much. It isn't anyone's fault only so much. It's ours, right? We have abdicated our power. We have given our truth. We have given our wisdom away to people who are only people, only human, only fallible. The system is now clearly broken. It was always broken, but our veils did not let us see it. Our veils were so brightly painted that they covered the fissures, the fissures and the gaps and the crevices, because we had really psychedelic lenses. So we're like, oh, there are no cracks in the system, because our kaleidoscope through which we were looking, the jagged colors, the colorful, we made it so colorful, full of glittering diamonds. We filled it up with so many things, so we didn't have to see the cracks. And now we haven't been able to go buy new kaleidoscopes and new sunglasses, and we're just in our pajamas. We're not even wearing a pair of jeans, forget fancy clothes and our Rolex watches. And now all of a sudden we're like, the emperor has no clothes? Like, really? The system is broken? Oh my God, no one knows what they're doing. America is actually backward. Scientists have no clue. The president is an ignoramus for the most part. Don't mind me. Oh my goodness. We act as if this is a revelation. And now we're in deep depression. We're like, oh my goodness, there is no mother and father out there. I am an abandoned child. I'm orphaned, right? And now we're in shock. We can't believe it. We're like, oh my goodness. Yeah, you know what the problem is? The problem is not in the outside. This always was, always will be a shit show. It's a total game. It's a total joke. It's like hilarious. It's always been. We're really funny. We're really, really also not so smart. But this has always been the case. The only difference is that our glasses are not being we can't go to the store to buy new glasses. And now our glasses are breaking and we're like, oh, the system is broken. Oh, no, the system is not broken. The glasses are now breaking to make you see the cracks that were already there. You understand? So I know this is very depressing for many people because they were living in a bubble. And the bubble was like, we are good. We live it, especially Americans. Americans were so happy. We are Americans. We know we are the ruling class here. We are on the forefront of science and advancement and enlightenment. And I say this so with compassion because I thought that too. I came running to America from India, salivating for salvation. But then I discovered very quickly that I was running away from myself. So this is just a beautiful wake-up call to our own adulthood. Teenagers go through this. I've said this before. Teenagers, when they enter their 13th, 14th year, and then they look at their parents and they're like, were you always this stupid? Like, no. Were you always so slow, so backward, so primitive, so stuck in the 1920s? No. And they go through this depression. They go through this complete disillusionment, right? Because they can't believe that their parents are their parents. When they so idolize their parents, and they're like, you can bear, oh, now I see what you do at 10 o'clock at night. Now I see that your little, peg that you take at 7 becomes 10 pegs. I see that you lost 10 jobs and you didn't tell me. I see now that you're a gambling addict. I see, right? Oh my goodness, mom and dad, you really argue a lot. How did I miss all this? Oh, because I used to go to sleep so early. I missed the real show. And so the teenagers begin to realize, and that's what's happening to us. We are waking up from our childhood stupor, so to speak, and we are realizing that humanity is just humanity. Humans are just humans. This world is run by humans, people. Some humans think they have a special dial up to the Almighty. And that gives us some comfort that some people are more pure and they have like some special connection. But they're not helping us right now. The special connection is not working either. We're praying really hard. We're like, I was vegetarian. I didn't eat chocolate. I didn't watch porn. Please, can I have a special connection? It isn't working. This virus is like, we don't care. We don't care if you're vegan. We don't care if you've never worn fur. You are going to suffer the same fate as those who want leather shoes all their life. And you're like, what? I haven't eaten meat for like 20 years. I've given up meat and I am going to get the same virus? What the hell, right? So no special favors are working here. Nothing is working. And this is a travesty. Sorry, I'm in some mood today because I'm just finding this funny. I'm sorry. So you're seeing my sarcastic side come out because it's just, to me, a little bit funny because I'm seeing the shock of people when I've been shocked for the past, since I woke up at 21, only 26 years ago. So I was shocked then. And I'm like, now why are people shocked? This is the game of life. This is the greed, the corruption, the ego, the fear mongering. Now we're seeing it because we can't rush out to the next Broadway show. We can't go buy tickets to Barbados. We can't go on our cruise ship and think we're just in some bubble on an ocean. We can't even get on a freaking plane to run away from our problems. We can't even leave our children for 5 minutes. We're stuck with the same partner in the house. We are stuck home the bubble is not, we're in it and it's too much now. We want other bubbles and we can't go to other bubbles. So this is the issue and we can't run away. And the only way to run, the only place to run, the only escape now is in the realization that there is no escape. There is no place to run. This is it. Now we have to go within. We have to go inside and begin to understand how we have been living masked all along. It's funny that people are protesting that they don't want to wear masks. I'm not starting a debate here. Please don't have a debate on my page, because I don't care about whether you wear a mask or not, except that it could kill many elderly and frail people. But if you don't want to have that on your conscience, your choice. That's not my point. My point is people are protesting wearing masks, but the real truth is that we have been living masked lives all along. We have been living masked all along. We've been living inauthentic all along. We've been wearing masks on the inside forever. Who are we kidding? So now we don't want to wear this mask? What about the inner masks? What about the ways we've been duplicitous and deceiving and lying to our authentic selves all along? What about that? What about protesting that? That's the real fight. That's the real protest. If you want to take off your masks, those are the masks we need to be taking off. The masks of separation, the masks of I'm a Jew and you're a Buddhist and you're a Catholic and you're a Christian and you're a whatever Lutheran. These are masks that keep us from each other. I'm American, you're French, you're German. Geographical masks, religious masks, all these masks of ideology that keep us separate from each other. Let's take out those masks before we care about these masks that could save a few million people, maybe. This is where we have been living false and not realizing it. And now it's been maybe in America a dismal 6-month attempt to settle in and hunker down and be within ourselves. And we can't even do this, right? But yet, anything worth birthing, anything worth creating, anything. I'm writing my next book. It's only taken me a year and a half, and I'm still got another 6 months left. I don't protest writing a book for 2 years. Why? Because I know that anything worth its salt takes time to form, takes time to develop, takes time to percolate. So why are we protesting, people? This is humanity's time to go inward, to percolate, to sit, to wither down, to crumble down, so we can form up again, right? To go into our ashes so then we can rise as the phoenix, right? To use the most obvious analogy. So the phoenix rises from the ashes. What does that mean? They're ashes, that there was a death, there was a crumbling, there was a withering, there was a falling down, a falling into before there was a rise. And we just want the rise without the falling. That's not authentic. So we cannot bypass the smithereens. We cannot bypass the destruction. We cannot bypass the falling of the old structures. For new to arrive, for a revolution to take place, a great demolishing has to occur, a grand destruction, an epic dismantling of the old before the new. So we are now witnessing the grand epic crumbling of old egoic structures, politically, racially, religiously, educationally, financially, emotionally, right? We can't meet our friends anymore. We can't go out anymore. So we're like, who are my friends? Who am I? Who am I without? I can't spend as much. I can't travel as much. All my accessories have been taken from me. I'm now seeing the political party for what it is. I'm seeing the religious institutions for what they are, hopefully, right? This is the invitation to now see things without the old kaleidoscopic lenses that have actually kept you blind, that have kept you in a blissful stupor maybe, but completely disconnected in a coma. So now you can't go replace your glasses because all the shops are closed, so to speak. This is a good thing, because now you're going to see the cracks on the wall. You're going to see the fissures, and you're going to see the seismic ruptures in your foundation. And yes, it's scary. And because you're scared, when we're scared, we displace and we project. And how do we do it? Through control. So in this case, we think we know what the data is, or we control what other people think, and we control this and we control that. Because we're deeply anxious right now. We're like, oh, no. right? We are like 5-year-old children and there's no adult in sight. Good. Time for the child to grow up. So the child is now going through adolescence where the child is only saying fuck all the time because the teenager has no other words, right? Because the teenager is realizing how dysfunctional its parents are and what a messed up world they live in. And the teenager is going like, how did I get here and how do I get out? So the only apropos word is a 4-letter word. However, once the teenager realizes that it needs to get its act together, earn some money, adapt, be creative, because the parents are ineffectual, and the teenager needs to pack their bags and leave this town and go to another town, metaphorically speaking, then we begin to grow up. The teenager has to become an adult. They has to grow up. It is our reckoning now. Okay, we were children. Now we've gone through the teenage phase of absolute shock and disillusionment, going, what the hell? Who are my parents? And realizing parents are alcoholic, parents are depressed, parents are completely ineffectual, parents are wasted, sleeping on the sofa, not waking up. Parents are binge watching Netflix and they're completely running amok. Okay, then the teenager realizes, okay, now it's time to grow up. So now it's our time to grow up. Now we've been through the transitions. Time to wake up and go, okay, I got to take this ship into my own hands. I need to take this wheel into my hands. And what that means is, what do I need to do to change my life right now? I can't wait for any system on the outside. I can't even wait for the schools. Even if the schools open and I'm like show-offing to my friends on Facebook, oh, really? Your schools in your district are not open? Mine are open. My kid is going to school. Even if you rub your hands in glee, don't count on that to last. They could be coming back right away, right? So don't get used to that delicious prospect that your kids are going back to school for a good year. No. So this is it. Now what do we do in this reality? How are we going to take care of ourselves? How are we going to adapt? How are we going to rise up? How are we going to show up? Who are we going to show up as? This is where you become your self-advocate, where you become your reigning queen and king. You become your functional parent. You become your governing body, right? This is self-reliance. You enter compassion, you enter love, you enter interconnectedness. You enter the spaces that you long to see on the outside because you have the power to enter that. You can become all the things you need. You think that you need it and you can't become it? No, you can become all the things that you need. So whatever you need on the outside, you're like, I really need the president to tell me that this is going to be okay. Give it to yourself. I really need the schools to last longer so my kid can be there so I can feel okay. Give that okayness to yourself. This is a call to you developing all the aspects of humanity that you believe are on the outside of you. They are on the inside of you. Whatever is outside and that you think you can get from the outside, trust me, you can get it from the inside. But you have to develop that capacity. You have to believe in that. You have to want that for yourself. This is the end of dependency. This is the end of childish passivity. This is the end of waiting for the prince to come. No one's coming. No one's coming on the horizon. Virus is there. Virus is the only sure thing right now, right? But understand, the virus is the war of today. In the last election, it was the terrorists. Remember? They were terrorists. They were the plague. They were the bacteria that were going to kill us and the virus that was going to get us. Remember? That was the ticket then. Now the new ticket is the pandemic. Another 5 years, it'll be something else. Do not be fooled by the ticket of today. That's not what's going to take you to the ultimate destination. The ultimate destination is going to only be arrived through traveling inward. This is the call. This is the mandate. Take it or leave it. This is the only place that you have to start at and end at. Your connection with yourself, your power within yourself, your worth, your connection to nature, your connection to your connection to it all. It's all you. Your happiness, while certainly can be assisted by people such as the president, it cannot be controlled by him or her. Your joy, while certainly can be aided and abetted by a better economy, cannot be given to that place to rest. It lies within you. You are your own universe. You can access your own joy, irrespective of the external world. And that's the place that is yours, that is private. It can never go away from you. It's always within you. It's up for your grabs, it's up for your taking. You need to access it and you need to discover it. Thank you all for listening to my viral wisdom. I will see you when I see you.